This conversation is unbelievable. We are speaking with a financial expert with money mindset. Do you know what your financial thermostat is? Have you ever heard of a financial thermostat? Listen to this video so you can learn the key things that will help you to identify what your financial thermostat is. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. I'm Johnny, and today we have Mr. Pericles. Could you please introduce yourself, sir, and give a little brief background?
Absolutely. Johnny, Teresa, it's great to meet you. Thank you for having me on. I am what I like to call a money mindset expert, and I focus on how people relate to money. It's kind of started about 30 years ago when I first launched my business as a business coach, and I wanted to work with my clients to grow and develop their business, make more money, obviously, be more successful in general. And what I found was when I first started working with people, they were making more money, which was extraordinary. And I thought we'd have really happy clients. But what I noticed was at the end of every single month, they were in the same situation they were before I started working with them. So if they were somebody that was always just treading water at the end of the month, they were making more money, but they were still just treading water. If they were somebody that was behind every month, they were still behind. If they were somebody who was stressed and worried about money, they were still stressed and worried about money. And it didn't make sense to me because they were now making more money. So I decided I wanted to study this. I wanted to understand what was going on because clearly there was something happening here. And what I noticed over the next 2 years was we have two things. One is we have a financial thermostat. Our financial thermostat or money mindset is a better way of saying, not better way, less sexy way of saying it. Our financial thermostat determines how much money we can actually earn, how much money we can keep, as well as our thoughts, feelings, and emotions around money. And the second thing I discovered were the 4 keys to resetting our financial thermostat. So I started implementing this education with my clients, and it went through the roof. People started seeing results like I'd never expected. And so in that moment, I shifted from just being a business coach to being a money mindset expert. And that's what I've been doing for the last 25 years and how I got to be with you.
Wow. So, you,
Well, that is so good. But like what I want to lean in off of that, like one of the things that I learned about you when I was studying about you, you mentioned a couple of emotions that you saw with people when it came to their financial thermostat, and one of them was anxiety and worry. So when you talk about the financial thermostat and you saw that in people, how can someone knowing what their financial thermostat is change that emotion?
Yeah, this is a great question. And it's one that probably a lot of people who are listening right now or watching right now are going to have the same exact question. I worry about money all the time. What do I do to stop it? There's this really great distinction that I came up with around money. So money is what I like to call a universal band of energy. So it flows just like a current. Electricity is a current, water's a current, air's a current, and it flows in a very specific way. Money flows in a very specific way as well, in that it flows in a circle. And it flows in a circle with us intersecting that circle. So it flows to us, through us, and away from us, and back around to us, through us, and away from us, with a reservoir on the side that we get to. Now, because money flows in this circular pattern, blocks anywhere in that flow are ultimately blocks everywhere in that flow. And blocks in the flow of money coming to us can look like money's the root of all evil. I never have enough. Money will always be scarce. I hate the wealthy. I think that if you have a lot of money, you did something bad or you're crooked or you're evil, right? These are all blocks in the flow of money coming to us. And blocks in the flow of money going away from us are things like, I hate to pay my taxes. I hate to pay retail for anything. I always have to hold on to my money. I don't want to pay people what they're asking for. I just don't want to spend money at all. These are all blocks in the flow of money going away from us. And because they're blocks everywhere in the flow, those specific blocks will block money in every area of our lives, most importantly on that reservoir on the side that we get to keep. So now let's look at how this relates to your question about anxiety or worry about money. If you were someone who was raised in an environment where people were always stressed and worried about money, it's easy for us to take on that mindset of money is something that I have to worry about. Money is something that I have to worry about. Money is something I have to worry about. And that ultimately becomes a block in the flow of money coming to us. So there's a 3-step process that I work with anyone who's looking to clear a block in the flow of money. And I'm going to give you that 3-step process right now. Number 1 is you have to recognize what that block is. So in other words, if you're somebody who's I just always know that I have to worry about money. Money is just something I've always had to worry about. You don't have to know where it came from or when it started. You just want to identify that conversation. You've identified the conversation. Now I want you to own it. Yep, that's my conversation. I've had that conversation for years. I've had it for decades, however long it's been. That's my conversation, and I can own that I've had that conversation around money for however long you've had it. Now, the second step to this is you now want to let it go. You have to physically and actively say, I let that old conversation go, that negative conversation go. I release it into the care of whoever you want to release it into the care of. If it's God, the universe, the trees outside, I don't care. But you have to say, I let that conversation go. It is no longer my conversation. I release it into the care of the universe. It no longer has power over me. It no longer has space in my psyche. I release it and I let it go. And you keep saying that until you have a sense of release, like a sense of relief, like, oh, I feel a little bit lighter. I can feel it's maybe not all the way gone, but it's a little bit gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in that moment that you feel that sense of relief, you create what money is or how you're going to relate to money from this point forward. And it can be anything you want. Money flows to me easily and abundantly every single day. Anytime I talk about money, I feel light and happy. Something very simple and concise that creates how you want to relate to money now. Now, we're doing this 3-step process for 2 different reasons. There are many different ways we can look at it, but we've got a brain science and we've got an energetic science. So the brain science is, if you're somebody who's ever followed Dr. Joe Dispenza or you do meditation, we're looking at neural pathways in our brains that fire and wire together. We have literally trillions of these neural pathways in our brains. And there are new ones getting created every single day. And when we're children, sometimes these neural pathways are negative. Money is something we have to worry about. Money is something you have to worry about. And those neural pathways fire and wire together over years and years and years, and they get powerful and more powerful and more powerful. We own the conversation and release the conversation. We've now broken that neural pathway. We've now diminished its power. It's not gone, but we've made it weaker. And then we've created how we're going to relate to money from this point forward. We've now created a new neural pathway. It's a baby. It's like tiny little neural pathway, but we have to nurture it. And we have to care for it. And we have to focus on it. We have to give it strength. And that's why we want to say it and repeat it over and over and over again. So we've now created this new neural pathway. Money flows to me easily and abundantly every single day. And every time we say it, every time we declare it, that new neural pathway gets stronger and stronger. And every time that old conversation shows up and we acknowledge it, own it, and release it again, we're breaking that old neural pathway. So the old neural pathway will get quieter and quieter and less frequent, while the new neural pathway will get more and more powerful. That's the brain science. The energetics of it is Abraham Hicks, law of attraction. If that's where you are, you're creating a new way of vibrating, a new vibrational frequency by feeling how it feels to be that new relationship with money. And the more you feel that good feeling, the more you're going to attract more things like that. So that's how you acknowledge, let go of, and create a new relationship to money, or clearing a block in the flow of money. That was a very long answer to a very short question, but I apologize. I want to make sure I covered it all.
No, that it makes sense. Like if you continue to talk about it and speak positive of it, which I never thought about it, but that's going to change the neurotransmitter, and eventually you're going to get used to it, and you're going to stop talking negatively about the way money flows to you. So I appreciate that explanation.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, that was really good, because now if you're thinking about that, especially those negative thoughts, because they're negative thoughts, right?
Yep.
So is that some of the ways that you would go to reset those negative thoughts? Basically, kind of how you outlined there. So what are the 4 factors then, the 4 keys to resetting? Because you gave us 3 of the process, but what are the 4 keys of resetting your
Yeah, though I unfortunately, given our times, we won't have time to go into all of them, but I want to give you one of them because I think it's one of the ones that's really, really important and empowering for people. And that is, understanding what money is. And this is, I think, where most people really kind of go south with money. We're raised in a world where everybody expects you to know everything about money. And if you're like
Mhm.
me, I was raised in a house where we never talked about money. We never asked about money. We certainly never asked somebody how much money they made or how they made their money. That was
Mhm.
just taboo. We didn't do it. And so
Mhm.
now we live in a society where on Instagram and on all of our social media
Mhm.
platforms, everybody's like, oh, I'm a player and I know everything about money. But we
Mhm.
don't. We don't understand money. And so we have this situation where people are pretending like they're wealthy, yet
Yeah.
they're actually going more and more into debt. They're pretending that they know about money and they're playing with something that they truly don't understand. And it's kind of like if my next door neighbor came over to me and said, my power's off, I need help. I'm like, okay, well, let's go look at the breaker boxes. And I'd open up the breaker boxes and I'd look to see if any of them had tripped. And if they
Mhm.
had, I'd flip it back and forth. If the power was still off, that would be the extent of my assistance. Beyond, look up an electrician and have a professional come out. Because what I would not do is start fiddling with wires and opening up sockets and
Right.
digging. But that's what most people do around money. They have
Mhm.
no idea how money flows. They have no idea how money works. And yet they're diving into all these crazy investments and doing all these crazy things. And they have no idea how these things work. And so they end up in a situation where they've lost all this money on something that they didn't understand. And then they wonder what happened. I don't understand what happened. So the first key is really understanding what is money? How does it flow? And how do I interact with money? What is my relationship with money? You know, most people, when they start looking at making more money, there's this little voice that's speaking to them in the back of their, you'll never make a lot of money's
Mm.
not for you. Money's evil. You don't want to be evil. I mean, for me, it was if you make a lot of money, you'll lose your whole family. That was something
Wow.
my mom said when I was very young, I think 6 or 7 years old, watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I'm dating myself now. And, you
Mhm.
know, she very nonchalantly said after the show, I'd never want to have that kind of money. You'll lose your whole family. Well, at 6, 7 years old, I decided and created a new neural pathway. Never going to make a lot of money because I don't want to lose my family. I love my family. And so I bumped up against that ceiling over and over and over again until I created this education and then suddenly saw that old conversation and then cleared that block in the flow. It allowed me to then start to make more money. But then I had to understand, well, what am I going to do with that money when I have it? If I give a lot of people this assignment, I'll say, okay, you've got $1 million, tax free, clear, $1 million is yours. What are you going to do? Whoa, well, I'm going to buy a new house. I'm going to buy a new car. I'm going to buy my mom and dad a new house. I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to quit my job. Well, they've just said 5 things that are
Mhm.
really good at disappearing money.
Oh yes.
Yes.
All they're going to do is disappear money because they've not set their financial thermostat to actually allow for having that kind of money in their life. And so what do? They just disappear it and disappear it and disappear it. This is why we see lotto winners,
Yep.
70% of them going bankrupt within the first 5 years. We have these extraordinary professional athletes who've made millions, if not tens of millions of dollars in the course of their life, of their career. They retire and they go bankrupt because they don't understand how money flows. They don't understand their own personal relationship with money, and they don't understand how to use it to the benefit of all. And so they end up failing. And that is the first key is understanding money and your relationship to it.
Mm.
That is good. And then based off what you said, I just want to dive a little deeper. And I strongly believe you can answer this because you've done your research and you have experience. Based on your knowledge and experience, why do you think money has so much power over people?
Because people think money has that power.
Mm.
See, we think that money is going to bring us happiness. We think money is going to bring us freedom,
Mhm.
security. And this is all an illusion. Money
Mhm.
will not provide you with happiness. And I know that's the last thing people want to hear. Money
Mhm.
is not going to provide you with security. That's the last thing people want to hear. I've got enough
Mhm.
money. I don't have to worry about anything. I've worked with certified billionaires, people who are billionaires, and I've watched them live their life in fear. I've watched them live their life in stress and anxiety, and I've watched them be miserable every single day of their life. And on the opposite side of that, forgive me, my little one is wanting to jump up on the chair. And
But
so
that's
I'm going
okay.
to let
Come
him
on
jump
up.
up. And I've watched people on the inverse of that who have very little money and they're absolutely fulfilled. They have no stress. They have no anxiety. They have nothing to worry about. They have so much joy and love in their life. And the reason is they understand what money can provide and what money can't provide. And so understanding that and really getting it, like you can make as much money as you want. If you're not happy from within, you're never going to find happiness. Not with money, you're not going to find it. If you're looking for security, you're never going to find it with money. You're going to find it from within. That's one of the reasons I say creating an empowering relationship with money and yourself. Because ultimately, when we start to relate to money in a powerful way and an empowering way, our whole lives change. Suddenly we realize, whoa, I don't need that to be happy. I don't need that to be secure. I don't need that to be fulfilled. I actually have all of those things within myself. And now, as money starts to show up in my life, I realize, wow, I've got all these opportunities that I never thought I had before or would have before, but they're all inside of me being content already. It's like icing on top of the cake.
That's good. And so, but I'm
That-
pretty sure we probably got somebody saying, well, if you have a
mm,
billionaire, what could they possibly be stressed about? Why
Yeah,
are they unhappy? Can you tell us why?
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. This is such a great, I love this story. There's the two stories from someone that I worked with who was a billionaire. And everywhere they went, nothing was good enough. Nothing
Oh,
was right. And they were always upset. This wasn't right. That wasn't right. This is wrong. This they private jets, suites on the biggest planes in the world. They were always miserable and unhappy about everything because nothing was right. And the money could not make it right because what they were seeing is what was wrong rather than seeing the good in things, seeing the joy in things, seeing the happiness in things. They were always looking for what was wrong. And so they would pile money to solve the problem, thinking that there was something outside of them that would solve the problem. And that's not the case. It was all inside of them that the problem was sourced from. Money just amplifies it.
mm,
People think money's the root of all evil. It's not the root of all evil. Money's just money. Money's just paper. It's just metal, right? That's all it is. It amplifies parts of our personality the more we get of it. So there are some people, they get more money and they become more magnanimous. They want to give more. They want to contribute more. They become better people. And then there are some people on the opposite side. The more money they get, the meaner they get, the nastier they get, the more entitled they feel.
mm-hmm.
Money is simply amplifying the personality traits that they will allow to come through. And it's all on them. It has nothing to do with the money. So if you're somebody that's making more money, you want to be really cautious of which personality traits am I going to allow to be amplified here? Because we've all got tendencies for all of them. Look, I can be a jerk. If I let it go, I can be a jerk. I spent years of my life being the jerkiest jerk around. But there was a moment in my life I said, no, this doesn't work for me. So what am I going to amplify? So that's a really important aspect of it. Now, the other part of it is I remember sitting with this particular person having dinner. It was an intimate dinner at their home. I think there were maybe 5 of us, and we it was just a makeshift. We were barbecuing on the thing and in the barbecue outside. And we came inside and we were sitting down eating it. And I remember this person was talking to somebody next to them, and they said, "Oh, there's just never."
Wow.
wow.
This was literally somebody who has billions of dollars saying, there's never enough money. And that is a conversation that I've had with people who make very little money and people who make a lot of money. And that just demonstrates that it's not the money, it's the sourcing of joy, happiness, and fulfillment, and that sense of enough from within, because money will never fill that hole. It will never fill that gap. So until we see what's missing in ourselves and fill it, we will never find that true happiness, that fulfillment, that contentment.
Wow. So, so really, and truly then everything is built from you being content first and then adding the money to it.
Yes.
So
Because at
no,
the end of the day, what is it we want money for? Well, I want the things that I have to make me happy. I want to have money so I can be happy. Well, what if you were happy first? What if you were happy right now without the money? And then the money came, it would be like, I said earlier, icing on the cake. It just makes it that much better. But if you're looking for money to bring you happiness, you've just jumped on the hamster wheel and you will chase after it and chase after it and chase after it. And there are people that I've worked with who said, okay, if I could just get to 70,000 a year, I'd be happy. Okay, we get them to 70,000. I think 150,000, that'll really make me happy. Okay, we get them there. No, it's that because they're looking for money to bring them something that it can't bring them. If they were happy to start with, they could hit that 75,000 or 50,000 or 20,000, doesn't make any difference. They're already happy. They've got what they wanted the money for already. Now, money shows up, it's much easier for it to show up, and life is much simpler.
Nice.
Okay, and
Nice.
I like that answer.
I
And
do
then
too. I do too.
can you give some words of like advice to the people who they don't have the money, but they want the big house so they can impress their friends or family. They want the big car, and then they're working this job that makes them miserable, like to impress people. I
Right.
know you have worked with that. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that just a little bit?
Yeah. If you're trying to impress other people, you're playing a game that's going to be bankrupt at the end of the day. Because
Wow.
if you look at it from your perspective, are you really impressed with what other people are doing, or are you more focused on yourself? We're more focused on ourselves. People will look around and think. I remember one time I was walking through the airport and I was going somewhere, and I remember seeing these two guys, and they were walking around. They had like a Louis Vuitton bag, and they had their Nespresso maker and a Louis special Louis, and they were doing all these things to just look like they were so cool, right? And I remember looking at them. It was a long time ago, and I remember thinking, these guys are losers. These guys are losers. That's what most people are doing when they're looking at you. When you're trying to impress other people, people are looking at you and they may say, ooh, that's really cool. When they turn their backs, when you turn your back, they're saying you are a loser. Stop
Oh,
trying to impress other people. It's not going to provide you with anything. And would you rather have people being impressed by a false illusion about you where you pretend to have money, or would you rather have the money? I'd rather have the money. I don't care what people think about me. I couldn't care
Right.
less about what people think about me. Whether I had money or not, I don't care. All I care about is who I am, the actions that I take, and the life that I lead. Am I treating people with kindness? Am I
wow.
living a life that's consistent with who I truly want to be, with who I want to be, not what I think other people want me to be? Because then every night I go to bed and I sleep really well. I
Mm-hmm.
wake up into a day filled with possibility and joy and happiness rather than who do I need to impress today and what
Wow.
job do I need to go grind out and suffer through so I can squeeze out a little bit more money so I can try to impress people. How much more debt am I going to pile onto my back so I can impress people who don't care about me? I don't care. I'm excuse me, I'm interested in living a life of joy and happiness for myself and for the people around me, not to impress other people.
Well, that's powerful because a lot of times that's what you see when people trying to
Mm-hmm.
make money,
Mhm.
trying to press the people around them. They call it trying to live like the Joneses, I guess, and trying to impress your
Yep.
next door neighbor, or the people you don't even know, right? And
Yep.
don't care.
And at the end of the day, what does that provide to us? What does that ultimately provide us? It really doesn't. If we look at it, I don't think it provides us with the things that we want. Does it provide us with connections with other people that are empowering and sourceful, or are they superficial and shallow? I mean, we really want to look at that. I'm interested in, I have a very small group of people around me, and it's because those people around me are people I love and people I know love me, not for what I have, not for what I've done, not for where I'm going. It's for who I am, the person that I am, and the way I'm committed to elevating them and they're committed to elevating me. So I've surrounded myself with people in that same conversation. And there's nothing we need to do to impress each other because that's not what this is about. It's all about that connection. That's ultimately what I find life is about.
And that's good. And because I was also looking at another point that you made about manifesting. So could you talk a little bit about that too? Because what is manifesting, and how does that work?
Yeah. This is something that I think a lot of people find a tremendous amount of frustration around. They read books, they watch YouTube videos, they practice, and they understand the basic premise of manifestation. And again, this is a conversation that Dr. Joe Dispenza, Abraham Hicks, a lot of people are really steeped in and are really brilliant at. And it's all about likes attract. So if I am kicking off a certain energetic field, if I'm kicking off joy and happiness, I'm going to attract joy and happiness in my life. If I'm kicking off laughter and fun, people are going to show up around me who are interested in laughter and fun. That's just the way it works. That's called manifesting. We can look around and see people who they'll trip over something and it'll be a bucket of money. Like everywhere they go, there's just money everywhere. Well, that's somebody that lives in a world that money just flows to them all the time. Same thing with happiness, contentment, joy, all of those things. So when we look at manifesting something in our lives, let's say money, since that's the conversation, what people think they need to do are the steps to manifesting. I need to think about what I want, feel what I want. I need to have that feeling, and I need to keep that feeling. That's all true. What they're missing is underneath all of that is the little voice that's saying, yeah, but it's never going to happen for you. Yeah, but you're too stupid. Yeah, but you don't have enough education. Yeah, but you know it's not going to happen for you. That little negative thought is going to poison any opportunity for us to manifest anything, which is why we want to go to that original conversation about money flowing in a circle and those blocks in the flow. Those negative conversations that we hear, those negative thoughts, those are blocks in the flow of anything. I want true love. Yeah, but it won't happen for you. We got to clear that block out. We've got to notice it, own it, let it go, and create something new. So if you're somebody who's been trying to manifest and it's not working, two places for you to look. Number one is there something underneath that's stopping you, that's blocking that from being manifested? That's the first place to look, that mindset, that financial thermostat of the block and the flow. The second place is we can create what we want and we can start to think about manifesting it. But where we can get off track is we try to force it out in a specific way. It needs to look like this and it needs to happen today. The minute we do that, we've cut ourselves off from source and we're not going to be able to manifest anything. We have to totally and fully surrender to and allow whatever it is we think is going to be manifesting for us, whether it's the universe or God or something else, we have to surrender to. We don't know and can't know exactly how that thing's going to manifest. And if we surrender to that and trust that it will show up exactly the way it's supposed to show up, on the time frame that it will show up, then it will show up. And we keep feeling the good feelings of how it will be when it's going to be manifest, then we can live our entire lives having that good feeling, whether it ever manifests or not. And we've allowed or freed ourselves up for that thing to actually show up in our lives. Because a lot of times what happens is we start thinking it's got to look like this. It's got to look like this. Well, this shows up, but it doesn't look like that. We just, oh, that's not it. But that was it. It just got in front of us and we killed it off because it didn't look the way we think it should look. And the universe or God is constantly putting things in our path that are the things we're asking, but we frequently look them right in the eye and say, yeah, that's not it. No, that's not it. She doesn't have the color hair I want. She doesn't have the color eyes. She's not tall enough. She doesn't have the career I want. And we're killing off all these possibilities in relationships, in making money, because it doesn't look the way we think it should look. Free yourself up from that and allow it to show up and explore all the possibilities. Explore them as opportunities. And I promise you, the thing that you're looking for will, in fact, show up.
Well, that gave me goosebumps, like down my side, everything. That I didn't think about that, but you know what? What if it does present itself to you, but you don't even know what it looks like?
Yep. Well, how many people are in relationships with people that they never thought they'd be in a relationship with? I do this all the time with people who say, I want the perfect relationship. I say, great, here's your assignment. I want you to write down on a piece of paper every single thing you want in that perfect person, from physical attributes to emotional, education, humor, all of it. I want you to write every single thing down. And they'll spend sometimes days or weeks getting everything down. They'll jot everything and they'll read through it. Yes, it's perfect. This is exactly the perfect person. I say, great. Are you clear? That's what you're looking for. Yes, I am. Great. Next step, burn it. Take that piece of paper and burn it and release it out into the universe. And now go live your life and watch for everything to show up in your life, because that perfect person will show up. They may not have the color hair you're looking for. They may not look exactly the way you expect them to look, but they will fulfill on everything that you wrote down if you give them the opportunity. And the same thing's true for money. I'll talk with people and say, okay, we're going to manifest money now. They say, great. Tell me about your day. Did any money show up in your life? No. Are you sure there's no money? Well, I saw some money on the ground, but I wasn't picking it up. It was only a dime. Okay. Well, you just told the universe you're only interested in the big money. You're not interested in all the little bits of money that make the big money happen. That would be like saying, I love my significant other, but their hands are so ugly. I don't want anything to do with their hands. Oh, I can't. Well, how do you think they're going to feel? You don't like my hands? You've got to love all of the parts of the whole if the whole is going to feel loved by you. Which brings me to one of, I think, the most powerful ways you can relate to money is, how would you treat your significant other? If you treat your significant other like, you need to be here when I want you, I need to have you as much as I want, when I want, and then when I'm finished with you, I'm just going to not even think about you, not pay any attention to you. I just want you when I want you. Well, that relationship's going to die very, very quickly.
Absolutely.
Same thing is true with money. We expect it to be there when we want it. We expect it to provide us with what we want. All the things that it can't provide us, we're demanding that it provide us. And it's like, but I can't. Just like a significant other. I can't do those things. That's not what I'm here for. Well, if we started relating to money as we would to an empowering relationship, we're thinking about them in a positive way when they're not there. We're thinking about, how can I improve my relationship with them? When they show up, I'm like so happy that they're in the room. They feel so honored. They feel so cherished, so appreciated. How can I expand and develop this relationship into something more? How can I grow it and make it better? What if we related to money that way? Oh my gosh, we'd have the most amazing relationship with money and with our significant others. They'd want to be with us more. Money would want to be with us more. We would be the talk of the town, but we don't. And so we end up with these very disempowering relationships in our personal lives as well as with money.
So yeah, that can really destroy a relationship and our money if we don't have a good relationship with it. And so, because you are a financial money mindset expert, I need you to explain to people, like, based on the conversation that we've had, they may be listening to you and they're trying to figure out why they are not able to make more money. Can you just touch on that and help people understand why they're having trouble doing this?
Yeah. Two things. One is, you may not be doing something that you love. And
Okay.
you may be in the process of doing, I'll use this as an example. A lot of times they're actors, and they want to be an actor. They're training to be an actor. They're an actor at heart, and they have to pay the bills. And so they're doing some other job in order to pay the bills while they're working on building their career as an actor. Now, there are two types of people. One, this sucks. I hate this. I hate this job. And it will poison everything they're doing in their lives because they keep hating what they're doing.
Wow.
And then there's the other side of it where people are like, I so love that I have the opportunity to do this job so that I can make the money I need so I can build the career that I want. So we've got two different worlds. Which world do you want to live in? The one where you're hating what you do every single day, or the world where you're looking at what you're doing today is creating and paving the way for you to be able to do what you want to eventually do. So approach it from that mindset. And then the second is, if you've got a block in the flow of money where it's keeping you down, where that negative conversation, like for me, I never want to have that kind of money because I'll lose my whole family. Or yours, it could be money's the root of all evil, or you're just not worth it. You're not worth it. You're not worthy. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not handsome enough. All of those negative conversations are a glass ceiling on how much money you can make. We want to own the conversation, let go of the conversation, and then create a new relationship to money in that moment. Just those 3 steps alone, if you take them on and you constantly, and I tell people, write it down on a Post-it. When you create that third step, what money is, who you are for money, or what money is for you in your life, write it down. Wake up in the morning and look at it and read it and feel how it feels to have that new relationship. Have it on your computer, on your mirror in the bathroom, on your car rearview mirror, everywhere. You want to be present to that new relationship to money. And the more you do that, the more you will become that relationship to money, and the more you will see your life change. Now, the last bit of it is we end up shooting ourselves in the foot because it doesn't happen right now, and it isn't
Right.
all that I want, versus, wow, I found a dime today. Thank you for putting money in front of me today. I am so grateful. I have a jar in my house where I put found money. One year I found almost $800 in the course of a year, just doing my life, walking around, picking up money everywhere I went. I am so grateful whenever money flows into my life. That money now flows to me everywhere. Every day money is flowing to me. So become that person. Have those conversations versus all those negative conversations. Have the positive ones every single day. And when you turn around in a week, in a month, in a year, suddenly you're going to see, whoa, I live a whole different life than I was living before.
Wow.
That was good. That was powerful. But at the beginning of our conversation, though, I just want you to say this a little slower. When we were at the beginning, you talked about the circle of like
Yep.
how money comes in and goes out, and I
Yep.
think people really that needs to resonate. Can you say that again?
Sure. Money flows in a circle. It flows to us, through us, and away from us, and then back around to us, through us, and away from us. It's constantly flowing in this circle. There is an unlimited amount of money. And if you don't think that's true, just look around at how much wealth is out there. No one's going to suffer if you get more wealth. No one's going to be diminished if you get more wealth. We all can rise if we believe that money flows in a circle, and it's always there. It's always there to be grabbed. It's always there to be taken. But are you willing to see it? Are you willing to allow it in your life? Are you willing to clear those blocks in the flow? Now, this money flowing to us, through us, and away from us. So I earn money, it comes to me. Then it flows through me, and then I pay for the things that I have in my life. I pay for my home and my car and travel and groceries and all the things that I pay for. But there's a third place that money coming to us, through us, and away from us, that reservoir on the side that we get to keep. So we want to funnel some of that money that comes to us, through us, into that reservoir on the side. And most people live their lives never even thinking about that. If it comes in, I'm spending it. If it comes in, I'm spending it. And so we end up in this cycle of it comes in and it disappears. And we think, where did my money go? Well, you know what? Start to flow money into that reservoir on the side. Start to build that reservoir up. And this is where we start to get to one of the other keys, which is expanding your own capacity to keep and manage and grow money. Most people have no concept of it. If I were to say, like earlier, give you $1 million, they wouldn't know what to do with it other than disappear it. Well, expanding your own capacity to understand what you would do with that money. How would you make it grow? How would you make it work for you? How would you make it better every single day? That's the conversation.
That's a nice conversation.
Okay.
Because most people wouldn't. I wonder how most people would answer that question. You ask, hey, if I give you $1 million, what would you do?
So now I'm gonna have to pose
Yeah,
that question because I'm
right.
curious.
Yeah. So we're about to close out. So we would like for you to just give us 2 nuggets for the audience that would be useful for them to kind of think about. 2 nuggets.
Okay. Love money as much as you love yourself.
Mm.
Love money as much as you love yourself. And if you find that, and this is the second nugget, if you find that you can't love money, maybe you need to look at how much you love yourself. You may discover in this process, I don't love myself as much as I ought to. I don't love myself as much as I deserve. And start loving yourself the way you deserve to be loved. No one's going to love you more than you. So love yourself every single day and allow for you to have the rewards that you deserve because of the extraordinary human beings you are. Money will flow to you freely and abundantly if you allow it. We block the flow of money ourselves through all these negative conversations. So love yourself as you would love money, and then be the person you want others to be. And those would be the things that I would leave you with.
Nice.
Beautiful,
Nice.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
So
Thank you.
if
You're
someone
welcome.
in the audience would like to reach out to you and get some help with their financial thermometer, how would they do that?
They can Two ways. You can find me on my two websites. They both go to the same place. One is periclesrellas.com. And if that's too hard to spell, you can go to resetyourfinancialthermostat.com. They both go to the same place. And right there on the main page is a link where you can enter your email, and for free, you can watch my masterclass, The 4 Keys to Resetting Your Financial Thermostat. It will give you everything you need to know to reset your financial thermostat. And if it's something that you're interested in, you want to work further with me, everything's included in that as well. But it's a free masterclass. I recommend everyone take the opportunity to watch it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pericles, for your time here on Bartelle's Money Talk. We really enjoyed your conversation. You gave some valuable information on how to transform your financial thermostat. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to you visiting us again on Bartelle's Money Talk.
Teresa, Johnny, thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.